false, and it can't be both, it can't be neither.
Stop clock. I actually don't know how long that was here recording because I didn't start the clock. That's going to be in post. But obviously, I've seen this video before. This is the first video of how to put it install. And so when you know where it's going to take this argument using this premise, this is not the law of the excluded. I think I should say, obviously, yes, the law of the excluded bill exists. And the formalized statement that Q or not Q has to be true is obviously true. You can plug in the truth table and find out that's what you get. The issue with what he's going to do with this law of logic is that he's going to take a formal rule and then sort of imply that it can be used in an informal context. I've given examples about this before in past, for example, my video on false dichotomies. There is what negation means in formal logic, and then there is what negation means in just common language. And so an issue you can run into is ignoring that difference and thinking that the arguments you're making must necessarily fall into those formal structures rather than proving that they belong to those formal structures. For example, yesterday I was editing a video about what was it? The ad hominem fallacy. Because there's this misconception, even among academics, that insults are the ad hominem fallacy. But not all insults are the ad hominem fallacy. If you say the earth is round and then you give proof and then you say the earth is round, idiot, same proof, same argument, doesn't change anything that you said the word idiot. And so in that I say that insults are neither logical nor illogical. But getting back to the point, the issue here that we could have is taking specific definitions of logical and illogical. These are not the actual definitions because I think illogical is at its most gracious defined as devoid of logic. But if you wanted to, you could probably say that logical is whatever you define it as, and then illogical is not logical. So how could I say that something is neither logical nor illogical? Well, it's the same way that I say, for example, that life isn't fair. When I say that life isn't fair, it's also not unfair, because it's not as though life is a moral actor capable of being fair or unfair. We like to think in terms of binaries, but more often than not, we think in terms of tertiaries, because you first have to answer whether or not something has a certain property or a certain characteristic, and then you can do a binary evaluation. I'm probably rambling and getting off track here. I'm just a little sick, so my head's a little swimming still. But the point is, this is not what the law of the excluded bill means. You can't just pull it out like it's some sort of trump card and say, okay, now every option that I'm going to present you either has to be true or false. But whether that's intentional or unintentional, that's just him saying, hey, I'm going to set up a series of false dichotomies and establish arguments based on false premises because the law of the excluded bill.
But they can't be neither. We can simply ask the question of any kind of mental activity, is it determined or is it not? Is it determined by anything else or is it completely undetermined by anything?
And so that's a false dichotomy. And like not even just according to me, if you ask any academic, that is a false dichotomy. There is a third position. There is believing that free will exists in a deterministic framework. This is called compatibilism. And not only is this something that the majority of philosophers know about, this is something that the majority of philosophers believe in. From the Phil Paper survey, I believe it's like 87% of philosophers believe in compatibilism. Only like 11% reject the existence of free will, which is obviously something that Alex is definitely going to tell you, because then that underlines his facade of authority. If you think to yourself, oh, well, he has a college education and he sounds like he's saying big words, acting very intelligent, very calm, very rational, his position is French. It is very unpopular among academics, which you could argue is a field of authority. But my argument isn't that he's wrong because he's going against consensus. It's just that you need to peel back this facade authority that he has and realize that he needs to substantiate the claims he makes, and he just really doesn't. Why is it the case that either we are determined by external events or we are not? Why is it not the case instead that we are influenced by external events but ultimately still make our own choices? Actually, these are not questions he answers, but let's just play out the full video.
Is it determined or is it not? Is it determined by anything else or is it completely undetermined by anything? If it's undetermined by anything, then it's random, and you're by definition not in control of that which is random. If it's determined by something, then it's either determined by something further inside your mind or it's determined by something external to you. If it's determined by something external to yourself, if that's what's determining the action, then clearly you're not in control of that. If it's something inside of yourself, then all you do is push the problem back and you ask the question again, is that thing determined or is it indifferent? Either of which you are completely out of control. If you say the determination is something like the soul, people like to do this. They say, well, with religious philosophy, we have the benefit of introducing the soul. That doesn't solve anything. It's not a matter of to explain the mechanism by which the soul brings about action. That may well be a mystery. But if it is the case that whatever it is that's doing is either determined or it's not, and then if it's not, it's random and therefore out of your control. And then if it is, it's ultimately determination something outside of yourself or something random, both which are out of your control. Free will cannot exist.
Oh my god. I kind of forgot how bad that argument was. Okay, so first, if it's undetermined by anything, then it's random and you are by definition not in control of what is random. That, I don't even know where to start. That's just a false premise and a horrendously bad false premise. If you're not asked why something is random if it's uncaused and why it is by definition out of our control if it's random. But I think it's more important to just emphasize that randomness is not a thing. I know that may be controversial, but if you ask a determinist what is random, you're not going to get an answer. Because according to determinism, it's the throw of the dice. No, it's deterministic. Maybe they'll argue that they believe that there are random events, for example, on a quantum level. But then that gets into some very interesting things that you guys will hopefully see here soon. I don't know how my upload schedule is going to be, but I have a video in works talking about quantum mechanics and physics and the world of free will. And there's a very interesting theorem by Conway and Cochin, and it's called the strong free will theorem. I'm not going to try to explain it here, but essentially the conclusion is that if we have free will, then so do particles. I know that sounds like an absurd conclusion that many of you would argue hurts the argument of free will, but I think it's something that we have to concede of any Bell-like theorem, whether it's the EPR paradox-Bell's theorem or Conway's strong free will theorem. A very simple proxy theorem goes like this. If two particles become entangled, then the spin of one can be known by observation of the other because it's going to be the opposite spin. So something interesting happens when you take these two particles and you form a space-like separation of them, which is to say that you take them further away than information can travel at the speed of light. Then the question becomes, what happens when you observe one particle? Well, based on what we know, you should instantaneously know the spin of the other particle. But how can this be? You separated the two speeds further than the speed of light can travel, which means there's no medium by which classical information can be conveyed. In terms of quantum mechanics, this proves that there are no local invariables. That is, of course, at least if the experimenters have free will. If not, then there's some vague argument to make that this is all deterministic because it's all determined by prior material conditions. The choices that they make in setting up these conditions for these experiments. Now, obviously, this explanation doesn't suffice to completely explain Conway's strong free will theorem, but it's an explanation that he uses in his lectures on his free will theorem. And since it's pretty much the same argument that is made in
you say time out? Oh no, I'm trying to do time out because I was changing my thumbs. You think I'm trying to like what you a side ever change my damn thumbs? Nigga, I'm chilling, nigga. I don't give a fuck about this shit either. You come here and talk, oh my god, what the fuck? Oh, what you mean, guys? You gave me my good for. I'm good as crazy. I'm good as crazy. You know what you mean?
So that I believe that consciousness meditation is a way for the spiritual, your spiritual, um,
Man, I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while. Have you guys ever seen Z Hollywood Zay on YouTube? You probably accidentally clicked on one of his videos, assuming it was mine. He's been plagiarizing my content for cheap views, and I honestly really didn't care that much until recently. This is the thumbnail for a video I haven't even fucking released yet. I made this thumbnail by handing GIMP. I chose the order of the games, I took a grid background and I stretched it to look like that, downloaded a specific font for the text, and I made this thumbnail from my mind. It looks solid, right? Z Hollywood Zay made a video on the fall of NBA 2K as well. That's perfectly fine with me. Anyone can make a video on the fall of NBA 2K. The more the merrier, honestly, and his video has performed really well. It has nearly 600,000 views. That's cool. Originally, the video, which was uploaded 4 months ago, had this thumbnail. It looks pretty similar to my thumbnail. You know, the game covers, the white stroke, the outer glow over a red background. I've made thumbnails like this before, and this video probably catfished some of my audience into thinking it was my video. But honestly, it's fine. I really didn't care. But then, after I teased my video on 2K and showed this thumbnail right here and posted it publicly online, take a good look at it for a second, he updated his video's thumbnail to this. To this. Same grid background, just red. Exact same font choice, same positioning of everything. From the text to the VC to the Metacritic score to the game covers. This guy saw my thumbnail for an unreleased video, decided he liked it more than his previous one, and he literally copied it almost exactly. And the worst part is, I haven't even uploaded this video yet. So he thinks he's being slick. He thinks he could probably accuse me of copying his thumbnail if I do release this video with this thumbnail. Of course, I had to leave a comment on his video, to which he replied, "I honestly haven't taken a look at your channel." Remember that. I honestly haven't taken a look at your channel. I have a Madden one that looks just like this one also. If you want me to, I can change the thumbnail and not use it again. I apologize. Unfortunately for him, I have receipts. He claimed to have not seen my channel. He said he hasn't even taken a look at it, which is funny, because on his Madden 25 review, a video that is essentially a complete ripoff of my Madden 25 review, I left a comment saying, "Great video." I noticed he had a lot of comments accusing him of copying my review almost word for word, but I wanted to be cool, because the more people call out EA, the better, even if his video was unoriginal. He replied with, "Bro, no way! This is absolutely amazing! I've been watching your videos before I even had a channel. You're a fucking idiot, dude. You steal my work. I act cool with you. And then you steal my work even harder and pretend to not even have looked at my channel before. So which is it, dumbass? Have you been watching my videos since before you had a channel? Or have you never even taken a look at my channel? Which is it?" He continued getting messages, some replying to mine, claiming he was ripping off and stealing my work. He replied to one by saying, "I believe if Soft Drink TV had an issue and would have noticed," commented positively. He also deleted every single comment accusing him of copying my channel. I have since rewatched his Madden video and deleted my comment because his Madden 25 review, which I had skimmed through before, is the most obvious form of paraphrasing and plagiarizing someone else's work that I've seen in some time. There's a reason he got all those comments accusing him of plagiarizing my work, because he did. So a few days ago, I replied to our initial conversation where I called him out on his 2K video. And I said, "Yeah, man, that's a straight ripoff of mine. The same font, the same grid background, etc." And I asked him to change it back to his original thumbnail as he offered, rather than stealing my unreleased work. He replied, "I changed it. I apologize. It won't happen again." Alright, so it seemed like all was good, and I was going to let it slide. I wasn't going to make a video. I wasn't going to call it out. Today, I checked his channel, and guess what?
Look at the overall basketball community. There aren't that many things that we can all agree on, but I do believe that there is one opinion that comes pretty close. The modern NBA 2K games are trash. This is a very common statement to hear throughout the 2K community, but most people rarely explain why 2K has been on a downfall. Most people do agree that modern 2K is trash, but there are lots of different viewpoints and opinions on the 2K franchise started to get worse. Maybe
The replica of my thumbnail is back. He fucking lied. Not only that, he deleted my comment and clicked hide user from channel. So my comments and any future comments I make will not show up to his audience under his videos. What an idiot. His channel consists of 6 videos. His first ever upload, his Madden 23 review, is a complete ripoff of mine. I didn't even notice until now. He even uses my own footage without giving me any credit, using a montage from my Sad Decline of Madden video. The ironic part is, he shows my content on the screen while talking about EA copying and pasting in their games. Check this out.
This is just sad, because any of the sports games in the PS3 era had way deeper franchises than this. See, EA, I'm going to give you some advice. If you want to copy and paste something, copy and paste all the features that you took out of the older game. Copy and paste.
Hey Hollywood Zay, I'm gonna give you some advice now. Go fuck yourself. He then made 2 other videos. Maybe ripping someone else off, I'm not sure, maybe it's original content, on King of Justice League, some game, and talentless female rappers. They didn't do too good in terms of views. So what does he do next? He makes another Madden review. Once again, copying and pasting every single talking point I had in mind in the exact same order, And this is that Madden 25 review I was just talking about. This video got over 400k views. If he made original content, I'd be happy for him. I would be shouting him out. But this is essentially $4,000 of ad revenue he made from stealing my work. He grew to 30,000 subscribers by stealing my work. And now it's getting even worse, as you can see with this thumbnail situation. When called out on it, he lied and said he didn't know my channel. He then lied and said he would change it back. Listen, Z Hollywood Zay, if you're watching this, make original content. I'd love to see more creators make retrospectives on older sports games, make critical reviews of the new games, and hold EA and 2K accountable. I'm not trying to gatekeep this genre, but use your own words. Make your own points. The irony of copying and pasting my points in my videos about how EA copies and pastes their games is actually hilarious. If you subscribe to this guy and you enjoy my videos, I would advise you to unsubscribe to him now. He is a liar and he is a scammer. And to be clear, I don't mind anyone making videos inspired by mine. You can use clips from my videos. Just give credit when you do, and don't paraphrase my entire review. Be original. Have your own opinions. This guy clearly doesn't stand behind the points he makes, because he stole these points from me. And if he truly appreciated authenticity, he wouldn't be plagiarizing my work. And he certainly wouldn't be deleting my comments and lying to my face about it. Chasing views like he's doing might make you some money at first, but you will not last if you're unoriginal on this platform. You fucked up your shot at having a lasting presence on YouTube. All you had to do was change the thumbnail and not lie to my face, and I would have let it slide. You're a fucking idiot. Anyways, I'm working on editing that full Ian Cummings interview, guys. It's about 3 hours long, and I released a short clip from it earlier today that you can check out on my channel. Madden 26 is about to drop, so I'll be working on that review as soon as well. Hopefully this dumb weirdo doesn't copy my review this time.
Every few months, I have the founder of a popular Las Vegas moms group is now facing shocking felony charges, accused of horrific child abuse that allegedly spanned nearly 2 years. We're going to break down the damning indictment and the disturbing details this child apparently told the grand jury, all with a Nevada criminal defense attorney who can better explain the case and what could happen next. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. What began as a safe haven for Las Vegas moms, a place to share advice, find support, build a community, has taken a very dark and unexpected turn. A Facebook group that was once filled with parenting and playdate recommendations and heartfelt conversation is now under intense scrutiny after its founder was charged with horrifying and deeply disturbing accounts of lewdness and child abuse. The founder of the well-known Las Vegas Supermoms group, Christiane Hall, is at the center of a troubling criminal investigation. Why? Hall, who served as the group's administrator, is considered a trusted figure in the local parenting community, was indicted by a grand jury last month on multiple felony charges, including 4 documents. The allegations involve inappropriate conduct with a minor, and I'm sorry to say this, believed to be her own child, spanning nearly 2 years, from around June 6, 2022 to March 2024. The fair warning, the allegations are deeply troubling. So to talk about these allegations, I want to bring in Adrian Lobo, criminal defense attorney, practices in Las Vegas, to give us some insights into the court system there. Thank you so much for coming on. First of all, have you heard about this group before? Was it well known? Is it well known?
Yeah, I have personally heard by the time after looking into it, it seems like it's a very large, well-established group on Facebook. Yeah, broke it kind of become the reference to that group.
Simon, do you see a lot of these cases? And if so, we'll get into details this one. Where does this one?
Yeah, I have seen many child abuse cases. I think part of it is obviously pending before you're doing exactly these allegations. So for sure, I probably have seen a bigger spectrum than most criminal investigators. I can say this one probably ranks a high on the disturbing list, and primarily because of the dynamics of the book. I think sometimes you see it where it's a stepchild or somebody who's not blood related, but anytime it's a mother with a child, it kind of, strikes a different nerve.
Yeah, it's a different level. So here's what we know so far. July 16th, Christiane Hall was formally indicted by grand jury on 3 felony charges. So she faces 2 counts of lewdness with a child under the age of 14. That is a serious felony offense under Nevada law. And 1 count of child abuse and neglect and danger. robust passions or sexual desires of defendant JFK. The second witness charge mirrors the first and involves different alleged contact. Quote, by the defendant making the said JA sit on the defendant's chest and or rub his body and or buzz against the defendant's chest with the intent of arousing ability or gratifying robust passions or sexual desires of defendant JA. Stop right there. If you're talking about these charges, they feel quite broad, but also does make me wonder, how do you know what the intent is? How do you know what the intent is? Because you're dealing with your own child, there is a physical contact with your own child. I'm sure defense attorneys would say that this is being discriminated. However, it's also, these charges are specific as to what you need to prove.
Very specific, and they are very serious. I think it's important to point out that, this is a very serious charge that requires suing, and with the possibility of parole after 10 years. So if she were to go to trial, the judge had absolutely no sentencing discretion, treated very harshly in the state of Nevada. And when it bears down on intent, you're going to see things like in police reports. I think they're captured for a reason. When you talk about gratifying the lust, passions, and sexual desires of an adult, that's how it affects the grand jury transcript and the police report talking about the behavior that that mother, I guess, was demonstrating after the young boy had contact with her. The moaning, the groaning, the placing of a pillow over private parts. Those are real reports, although they're distasteful, but the prosecutor must get them out in order to prove that there's something else that's going on here. If for civil care purposes, it wasn't because he was acting out, it wasn't because he didn't feel good. Any of those things that would be possible acceptable reasons for a parent.
Oh, well, you don't have so many videos sidebar today. You yourself might be in conversation with the folks who are saying, well, hey, what? We use a platform called Focus Group, so this isn't all. With child abuse, neglect, or engagement, the prosecutors allege that all, quote, did willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously cause a child under the age of 18 years to wit, J.A., being approximately 7 to 10 years of age, to suffer unjustifiable physical pain or mental suffering as a result of abuse or neglect, with negligent treatment or maltreatment of a child and or cause J.A. to be placed in a situation where he or she might have suffered unjustifiable pain or mental suffering as a result of abuse or neglect, to wit, negligent treatment of a child by verbally abusing J.A. in a manner that caused him to feel unsafe and or unloved and or upset. Now, court records indicate that all were waiting on July 30th, pleaded not guilty. And given the nature of the charges and the fact that this involves a grand jury indictment, now we have to get into the question, Adrian, what does that tell you about how prosecutors are approaching this case?
Well, it's an interesting approach. It's one that I have not seen very often, in the sense that for the allegations of and neglect, is that he didn't feel loved or was upset, and they're attacking him from an emotional standpoint, which is too loud. That makes things a little bit more gray. In my opinion, I was frankly quite surprised to see this by way of sexual abuse causing physical and emotional harm to the child, sexual maltreatment. It feels very vague to me. I'm kind of confused by that, because I think there's a stronger argument they do not. I'm unfortunately privy to more facts than I am. I was available in the public record. I can say that, it's a bit wishy-washy to say that, he didn't feel.
This is a story with no happy